All praises to the Most High, giving honor and glory. Hello, family. I pray all is well. So I came across this video yesterday, and this brother shared some great information. As you see, the actual title here is Jesus. Jesus is the Son, S-U-N. Also, I'm going to share in this same video about the actual startup of where this comes from, which is on the walls of Kemet surrounding Heru, and also understanding about Asar and Aset. Asar is what the world knows as Osiris, I want to say. And then Aset is known as what the world knows as Isis. And then Heru is known as Horus. So let's start here, and then please pay close attention, because this is something that you have to look beyond just this part of speaking about the sun as in, what's in the sky. Because the same storyline surrounding, Jesus in the New Testament, in some places also in the Old Testament, you're going to have to come to a place to understand that it's not speaking of a person in that lineup. It's speaking of the sun that shines bright, that rises every morning, and then has, during the winter, a solstice, which is starting on the 21st, and then it will arise on the 25th, is born, like coming back up, right? So let's just take a look at this. Here we go.
Revelation, or the cosmos and the logos, being a history of the origin and progression of the universe, from cause to effect, more particularly of the Earth and the solar system, and it keeps going and going. It's actually a pretty interesting book we're going to get into more and more. I have so many books that I've been holding, but they are so deep. Honestly, we weren't ready as a community together to be reading it. We had to understand certain things first, because these books get so deep, it's on another level. But we're definitely ready. We definitely, even if we're not, we're going to do it, because it's time. The time has come to get more in depth in our research, get more deeper, get more specific. So this book is written by George Field in 1870. And we're going to jump into page 61, belly flop right over here. And again, this book is deep. Just actually talking about the sun and all that, and the sun worship and all that. Before that, just wanted to go here real quick. Now it says, the soft breathing sound of breathe, breath, right? Wow. Or it's modulated ja, right? Or combined as ja, or jaho, jaho, or as they say, see how they put it, ja, and then dash, you see that? The breath, from times immemorial were the divine and holy names, and these were interjected apostrophistically in times of peril, surprise, or joy, and the exclamations, oh, ho, ha, and ya, But among the Greeks, the Y or Jod of the Hebrews became the still soft I or I-O. Alright, so how with Greeks and Latins change all these things? Continuing, Apollo, or the light-given sun, was invoked, because the sun of nature was the symbol by which the ancients worshipped the son of heaven, the son of heaven, the fountain of life and light, and this name was inscribed over the great door at the temple of Apollo, or temple of the sun, at Delphi. The Io or aspirated heru is the root of iov or jov or io ah. So also ie was but a modification of io and is the same as the y or j, which united with the soft and sibilant s makes wise or jess, which with the Roman terminus us became Jesus or Jesus, which is literally the sun. It's literally the sun. Example, the son of heaven or the solar fire. The rudimental letters Y's denoting fire. Iceland is the Scandinavian tongue Wiseland or land of fires. The early Christian converts inscribed upon their altars this name, Es. Jesus, remember? Jesus means the sun's rays, remember? Check out my Thoth videos. The name of him who is the son of righteousness, which afterwards became changed from Greek to Roman letters and read thus IHS. Alright, this is what I was talking about. Check out my Thoth videos, alright? We go over this. Which were supposed to be the initials of Jesus' homonym Salvatore, right? It's supposed to be. It's not really. That's hijack, right? And he's letting us know. This author is letting us know, dodge the hijack. Because it's supposed to be. It's really not. Jesus the Savior of man. That's what it's supposed to mean. There's a religious sect in Syria, Kurdistan, who received the scriptures and are called Yazidis, alright? Who worship the sun. We went over them, these people, in my Thoth video. Again, check it out. And their temples dedicated to it. So great is their devotion thereto, that they kiss the object on which its beams first fall. Amongst the North American Indians, alright, listen up. Amongst the North American Indians, this appellation is similarly preserved as the name of the solar god. Jesus, the great sun, behold me. Jesus, the...
Okay, I'm going to pause there. So, family, let's take a moment. Okay. Okay, so when we hear this, take a moment and reflect. Take a moment and reflect. It's been all along, way before the Bible came out, that it was referring to the sun, S-U-N. And they hijacked it, perverted it, and made it into a person. That's why the halo is around the neck, around the head of what they call, Jesus. As you see this picture, how the beams of light coming from the sun, and it's always surrounding his head in all pictures because they're connecting it with what I'm about to show you next. I wanted to actually put what I'm about to show you next first, but I said, nah, I'll go ahead and do this and then add that in. So hold tight one moment. But before we go any further, let me just get some comments here of people who says what they're saying. It's quite obvious if you perceive the energy of the universe as God itself, the creator of all things spiritual and physical, the manifestation of all things within it. Okay? Brothers and sisters, have compassion for those that this hits hard. It is still devastating for me to acknowledge all the lies. Okay, some just awakened and want to know truth, but are grieving during the process. Others have been on this journey much longer and can provide encouragement. So this person is absolutely correct. I'm sorry that I did not put this out at the top of the video. But, this is going to be for those who on the journey seeking this truth you are already received this truth, and then this is further confirmation. Those who on a journey but not, got to this point yet, then please understand. Just put it on the shelf. One day, it will come back to the point of matter in your journey, and you'll go back and grab it. I can assure you that. From what the findings is so strong. So this person is speaking definitely truth there. Okay. So let's see if any other here. This person say this channel brings everything full circle for me. And let's see here, anything. This is amazing. I have come to the same conclusion, and being some think of as being the Son of God seem to be trying to teach about the Son of God. So far, I'm finding many of the corruptions occurred during the conversion of Constantine Pole. I found a couple of other channels who have also come to the same conclusion. However, afterwards, my research followed a different path than theirs. I think it gives good confirmation because my thoughts are, we've all found this from different sources. That is correct. So true. But you're going to have to deal with this in the manner of how you lining this up with the Bible. How this was added to create this propaganda. How we got, in so many ways, sold on this is because the Israelites, which is a byword, according to the scriptures, always went into captivity. And in each captivity, a Messiah was raised, anointed, that will actually be on the forefront, because a Messiah means anointed one. So they easily sold the storyline for this, to create this big old propaganda, as you could see, and you will see where this all originate from. Not that what I'm about to show you from the walls of Kemet is propaganda. It is actually the storyline that they took bits and pieces from, and you will see. So let's see, anything else I want to read here. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next video. One moment. Okay. So this is a shorter version here. Okay. This is only 5 minutes long. And this is the title here. And it speaks of this brother who's been going to Egypt for now almost 40 years. And he's been on the field of studying for about 14 years. He was under the leadership of Dr. Ben. If you're familiar with him, he have passed on. And I believe he has passed the torch on to this brother as well as Anthony Browder. Okay. So speaking of here, that Heru, the birth of the son, and the resurrection of Asar. So Asar will be, if we're looking at it from as the father, when we come into the storyline of, say Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. So Heru will be according to, that lineup, but you can see it's going to take, a little different, where you will look at it, how they went about it in Christianity. They took it into another direction about speaking of the Immaculation and so forth. But you'll hear it here as well. So let's take a look at this. One moment.
In the form of it's in the form of the door, and what is that door or admiration for? Praise, but praise to what?
Stars.
What star is that?
A saint.
The star is a Okay, so why is it being praised? What's happening here? When that star comes, what happens?
Transformation.
Okay, let's bring it to you in Christianity. When the star in the east appears, what did that tell them?
A birth.
What?
Heru. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. So that was copied from here, showing the dua giving birth to Sepulsipta. That's the star Sepulsipta that the Romans call Ceres and the Greeks call Solis. When that star appeared, that meant that at December the 25th, the sun was born. And that, who is a personification of the sun? Heru. So Heru is going to be born at this time because that star was perpendicular to the star system, the star Ra. There was a personification of Heru. So here we see the story that the evil brother who cut up a star, who is holding the scepter, it never touches the ground, 360 degrees of the living perpendicular. Here she's going to set his Netrahemp is going to bring Asar back to life. But how is she going to bring him back to life? She's holding up in her hand a beautiful relief right here at the Netrahemp. That means the divine life. She's going to raise him up because from that Netrahemp, it represents her womb, her uterus. Out of that womb will be born the holy child Heru. Now, when we understand that, how we as an African people were cut up, and let's tie that to today, and spread all over the world, is that right? Yes, right. Taken from Africa, some of us were brought to America, some of us to South America, some of us to Europe and England and other places, is that right? Right.
So look how high that wall goes up it's just like it's a book. But these brothers, these are only two that I've been following that really have been bringing people back in the last 30 to 40 years. Like I say, Anthony Browder and also Ashara Kawizi. They have been bringing people back over the years and bringing them into this truth. So when you have some of our people say, well, like myself, I didn't go directly to Kemet. I touched a little bit on it and I was like, nah. And then it's like Father shift me someplace else. So I was supposed to go around the wheel from saying a Christian, understanding about the Hebrew Israelites, going into the Bantu, then understanding now I'm, at Kemet, which then I believe and know that I'll end back up at Congo. But when I came into the Bantu, that was really going into understanding about Congo also. But I came back and I was led to start, studying about Kemet. And now what my understanding is that we will all end up at Congo, according to the prophecy by Simon Kimbango, okay? And all points there because of the map, I believe, that appeared in Israel, Levant of the Congo. And I believe that was just another sign. Okay, so all of this is what being presented. These brothers, when one say, well, I'm going to go to Egypt, I'm going to go on a tour. Well, you might look for a package deal, and whoever the tourist or tour guide, you don't like, okay, this person going to give me some knowledge. No. These brothers, they take you places where these other tourists appears not to go. And then they line it up and link it back to the Bible to give you the storyline of where the storyline originally came from. So if something, found 3,000 years before a book even came into play, well, who took what from who and where and how? Who stole what concept or ideas? So when I came into this about a week ago, even more in depth, I was quite sold on the fact to see that not only this story, but many storylines about surrounding all the popular stories that are in the Bible is found on the wall of Kemet. So let's continue here.
We see that a Set is the one who had to travel throughout the land, pulling together all the pieces of Asar's body to resurrect him to life. Now, we can take this story and tie it to our story because we have been cut up and spread around the world. And what is it going to take to reconstruct us? The African woman. Because it is her womb that will bring what? Life. New life. By her having new life and reconstructing us, then we can be a people for eternity. So this is why we see the system in America will grab our youth and then have them desecrate sisters and call their names, knowing that that spirituality of the divinity and deification that we had for the African woman, once that is destroyed, then we are no more. I think we should have a tradition, even though you may not know her, that every time you pass an African woman, you should bow to her. Because that represents the resurrection of the race. So we have to take our ancestral stories and tie it to today. And tying it to today, we take the story of a Set who had to reconstruct the Asar's body, taking the Neta'am, the symbol of divine life, raising him to the living perpendicular to 360 degrees so he can live again. And he symbolizes what? Resurrection and salvation, because he is the ruler in the afterlife. And I think that these books in stone gives us a tradition that will help in our emancipation, our continual emancipation. And that's the mental part of our emancipation, brothers and sisters. So I think that this is what we have got to get back to. And these books in stone, as though our ancestors wrote, as though one day we will forget our story. But as long as these books are in stone are here, we can reconstruct our story and pull it together. And not look at it as something negative or something evil that the Western world, if it was supposed to be so evil and negative, then why would they come and copy the whole thing? Is that right? Yes. Right. So you can take the picture of a Set holding up the Neta'am and raising Asar up to the living perpendicular of 360 degrees of spiritual knowledge. Wow. Because without that, no lights, please, no lights. Because without that on, we would not be here. Is that right? Right. Some of you come from somewhere else? No.